I refuse to grow old in spirit. My body, yeah, there's definitely some body parts that are saying, I've been around here a long time. I'm tired. But in my spirit, I want to remain young, youthful, interested, have a voice, be a mover and a shaker, remain relevant. What you've got to do with this period of your life, honestly, is realize you are rare. Do you know that only 8% of the population reaches this age? That's among men and women. You are already very rarefied. And on top of it all, I'll tell you what, you're basically only in competition with yourself. Well, hi, everybody. It's Diane Gilman. And I would almost say this is Fashion Tuesday, but it's a very special one because guess what? I am 80 years old. How did that happen? Just snuck up on me. And for anybody that tells you that it just goes by like boom, like that, I think so. I feel like I've lived a really full life. Some periods have gone a little slower than others. But I got to tell you a funny story because the title of this podcast is 80 is a new 80. What does that mean, Diane? So I'm at my dentist. My dentist is a great guy, absolutely brilliant dentist, and has very dark black hair, little bit of white showing. So I'm thinking to myself, God, he looks really good for 55. I'm thinking he's 55, maybe 58. So he's going to do some procedure to me. And I said, watch out. I'm an old lady now. I'm 80. Take care of me. And he said, oh, well, I'm about to turn 70. And you know, Diane, 70 is a new 60, but 80 is 80. Thinking to myself, yeah, thanks a lot. But in a way, it's kind of true. It is a huge decade birthday, and it's a birthday I cannot deny. I am definitely in the midst of my third act, and there is no procrastinating anymore. Every single moment is precious. And you know something? I think to myself, how did I get here? And wow, this is really a consequential amount of time to be on Earth. I think you can do everything you want to do. Take a million vitamins, exercise, become vegan, get the amount of sleep you should get. But I truly think it's your karma, whether you honestly live 80, 90, or beyond. I'm going to quote my favorite rock and roll band, the band I grew up on, the Rolling Stones, Keith Richards, who, honest to God, the way that guy lived his life, it's a miracle he's alive today. And he is, and he's 81, going on 82. And he said, you know what? Life's a funny thing. Nobody wants to grow old, but nobody wants to die young. Absolutely right. So I'm going to tell you what. I refuse to grow old in spirit. My body, yeah, there's definitely some body parts that are saying, I've been around here a long time. I'm tired. But in my spirit, I want to remain young, youthful, interested, have a voice, be a mover and a shaker, remain relevant. What you've got to do with this period of your life, honestly, is realize you are rare. Do you know that only 8% of the population reaches this age? That's among men and women. You are already very rarefied. And on top of it all, I'll tell you what, you're basically only in competition with yourself. And it never even occurred to me that people would compare me. But if you are in the public eye, and I was on television for 31 years, QVC and HSN. It just drives me nuts that people have this thing of, oh, she was a star in the 90s. Wait till you see her today. You could hardly recognize her. What? There is a myth among social media that somehow you must never age and you must always remain the same. It is honestly so unfair. You can't buy into that. So I was doing a podcast the other day for Fashion Thursdays, and somebody sent in a comment because I think the podcast was about hair and makeup. And they said, well, Diane, if you just start dyeing your hair again, everyone will think you're 60. Well, okay. But I don't necessarily want to deny my age. I think there should be a certain amount of mystique and awe and respect given to those of us who have survived this long. I am not going to tell you that youth was wasted on me. I had a really good time. I don't think I was that respectful to my body until 72, that ripe old age, when I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. In a way, I thought, oh my God, getting cancer at 72, how cruel. But then again, I'll tell you what, it changed my life. When you have any form of a health threat that makes you understand and see how mortal you are, you will come to appreciate and love life so much more. Yeah, because people always ask me, like, how could it be that you don't ever talk about having cancer with any kind of bitterness or saying it was a dark period of your life? It was not. It was a period of self discovery, it was a period of realignment. And I came to understand that if I was going to sail ahead of this, I stopped treatment when I was 73, 74. I needed to reinvent myself. And so I see turning 80 as a gigantic decade birthday, just gigantic milestone birthday. But I'll tell you what, having that diagnosis of cancer and going through that treatment prepared me. I used to complain about life all the time. I hate the airplanes. I hate the delays. I hate the weather in Florida for keeping your hair and your skin together. There were a lot of things as I aged and aged out of being on tele-retail that were negative for me and were feeding me a lot of toxicity. And even my surgeon said to me, your cancer is a toxic based cancer. You lead a toxic lifestyle. So I had the privilege of a huge wake up call, which said, if you don't change the way you're living, you're not going to live much longer. And I'll tell you what, it became the biggest wake up call of my life. I learned two things that will serve me until my very last breath: gratitude and forgiveness. Now, one of the things I need very, very much in this period of my life is, honestly, this is going to sound crazy, but it is so prevalent. Forgive yourself for growing old. Yeah. Or else you wake up one morning and say, oh, I hate me. I hate the way I look. I hate the way I move slowly. I hate the way I don't have purpose anymore. A lot of what you want out of your 80s and your 90s and beyond is customization. Put your life together. Guess what? You don't need to listen to anybody else now. You need to get acquainted with you. And I am also not going to tell you those stupid ads on TV for health drinks for older people where it's like, oh, I'm better than ever. I'm not better than ever. I am different than ever. And I think the one thing that is constantly a challenge to me, I had from having cancer and taking 9 months off work. I thought it was going to be a year, but I was really rushed to get back on again, that I am a purpose driven person. I am a goal setter. I am an achiever. I want a voice. I want the strength of laying down legacy. And if I gave any of that up, life was not going to be what it needed for me to be to go on. And so I say this to you, whether you are 35 or 55 or 65 today, know that you have to craft this life for yourself. You can hear all the extraneous noise you want to hear, whether it's from relatives or friends or coworkers that are half your age. Everyone's got a piece of advice for you turning 60, 70, or 80. But where are these people? Yeah, they're at 30 and 40. I will tell you that landing at 80 is a little bit like landing on Mars. If I walk into a restaurant with this white hair and just me is me, and I'm walking slower than I did at 50, you know what? There's not a lot of companionship out there. I mean, I may be the only white haired woman in the entire restaurant because no one wants to admit they're getting older. But guess what? I got a big secret for you. Everybody knows. So people always ask me, why did you stop dyeing your hair? Well, I don't want to put the chemicals on it, but also I wanted to be admitting that aging can be good. Aging can be a huge advantage. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty much a rare bird now. I don't want to be in competition with anybody, but I have such a competitive nature that I have to say, if I deliver on any level at 80 years old, everyone is like, bravo, Diane, bravo, because there just aren't many of us out there doing anything. Also, I was always a late bloomer. This is not new to me. I didn't invent the middle-aged gene, the DG2 gene, until I was 60 and actually was living middle age and couldn't find any fashion to fit me. And I became a spokeswoman for my generation and maybe even 20 years below. If I'm going to become someone important, someone with a big voice, someone who lays down a new concept, a new viewpoint of aging with advantages, it's not new for me to do that at a point in life where most people don't expect anything from you. Because when I was 60, everybody had retired from fashion. Nobody who were my contemporaries in my profession were around me anymore. And quite frankly, I was living in the middle of two careers, television, very visual, and fashion, that don't exactly love the concept of aging. They are both intensely youth driven. So now at 80, I'm special. I sound like Church Lady on SNL. I have purpose, but more than that, chances are, if you are lucky enough to survive 280 and beyond in one piece, you will see life differently. I certainly did after a year of chemo and radiation, and then being told essentially they'd gotten it, stage 3 breast cancer. I see life very differently, probably from most of you. I see life as a huge privilege, and therein comes the gratitude section. I am so grateful for my health, for my happiness, for being able to reinvent myself to new purpose, to going out into an entirely new field with a learned talent, which is communication through a camera lens. I am just amazed at how differently I see life. And no bitterness, no anger towards growing old. I mean, come on, party can't last forever. But everything is more intense for me. And I'll explain it this way. I'm Dorothy. I'm in Kansas. Everything is black, white, sepia. And guess what? At 80, the house comes down out of the tornado. You open the door and everything is in technicolor. I honestly see it that way. I don't know, are my taste buds different? Or when I eat something I really love and want to eat, it seems like it could be super simple, but the most delicious meal I've ever had? Or is it crazy to say that I wake up one morning and I actually have a bedroom that's like a Victorian greenhouse and it's all glass and surrounded by a wraparound garden overlooking the park, Fifth Avenue and Central Park. And suddenly the morning glories, the beautiful purple morning glories, open up and are in bloom. And it just seems like, okay, today's going to be the best day I've ever had. I have those kind of feelings. They're exaggerated, they're more intense than they've ever been. And it's gratitude for small bits of beauty in life. I don't think you can have that as a youth or even in the midlife. I think you're too busy contrasting what you need to do, what you feel you're failing at, how to succeed, not getting enough going at any one time. At least I was. I had very little appreciation of the simple stuff in life. But now I have enough time to see it all, but still be in a new profession where I'm learning, I'm meeting tons of new people, I'm getting so many new interests, and I feel like I'm able to do something beyond just building a community, but doing something great for my community. And then again, there is forgiveness. So I came from a very, very difficult upbringing. And ironically, and I've never been able to figure this out, I came from a household where they knew that I had passion from the time I was like 3 years old. I don't know. Wouldn't most parents be super happy that you knew what you wanted to do with your life and you were not a lazy kid? You were willing to work for it and go after those goals. And they did everything they could to block it and fit me into a life that made no sense to me, had no joy, and actually forced me to leave. And then when I left, they were super angry at me. And so angry that when I came back into the family, briefly, they wanted me to know how angry they were at me and how disappointed they were. I was on television at that time. I was international. I was well known. I spent a lifetime clawing my way up to that position and no appreciation there at all because I didn't do what they wanted me to do. Forgiveness, I was angry for a long time, but I am not going to leave this life with any anger. Only resolution that I become a better person, a happier person, and a person where I recognize that I've got some kind of energetic makeup where I can share that joy. And also, my biggest purpose in life, honestly, is being able to help all the women around me that are in my age community, let's say from 60 upwards. For many years, I was really scared of growing older, but like Keith Richards says, what are the alternatives? There really aren't any. The one thing that I would say to anybody in this phase of life, every single moment is precious. Love it, make the most of it, and help those around you. The other thing that having breast cancer and being cured of it taught me was spread the love. I had always been in two professions, fashion and television, that were not based on niceness, not based on help your fellow man, not based on let me make you happy, but were much more about I'm above you, I'm better than you. To let all of that go. The one thing, if you do get any kind of illness, which you probably will within your lifetime, that is the equivalent of, you will see that illness or disease will be the great leveler in your life. You will realize whether you are living in a penthouse on Fifth Avenue in New York City or a humble farm in the heartland, that disease will treat you the same. That will level you out. And what is good about that is you become very aware of how interconnected you are with everybody. I do want to say that celebrating my 80th birthday, just what a huge decade birthday, my elevation of appreciation for life is worth every year. Every tear I shed, every sweat moment where it was like, oh my God, I'm never going to achieve my goals, but mostly I did. And Also, for me, an appreciation of being born with a talent, which we all are. But for me, the advantage was I was able to recognize it at a very young age and nurture it and protect it and amplify it. And I look back on my years and I honestly feel such a sense of gratitude for I did the best I could with what I was given. Wow. And the other thing for forgiveness for everybody that tried to block me or make me feel less than, well, my attitude and forgiveness is you just weren't meant to be on the journey with me, Mr. Fuzzy. It's telling me how much he likes me. And as you get to this age, realize that you are a matriarch and you deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be treasured. And it's your life. Don't listen to other people. Do what you want to do. Nobody really understands my drive, but here is my big life lesson in a nutshell for getting to be this old and beyond. Know yourself. So I know that I do not want to fade away. I know that I don't want to be invisible. I know that I don't want to stop learning. I know that I'm never going to be anything but a big personality. But what I've brought into it now is because I do not have a family, born into family, building a community around me and a community of like minded people like me is very important. And it is a part of my essential self. And if you can pragmatically just take a piece of paper, sit down and list every single point of you and your personality and your heart energy. And I'll explain that in a second. Then you can sail into matriarchy and being 70, 80, 90 with ease and a sense of joy and a sense of satisfaction and a massive resurgence of self respect. When you turn a big decade age like 80, it's a little like landing on Mars. There aren't a lot of people around you that are like you. But maybe you're not meant to feel that you're common. Maybe you're meant to feel that you should lead and lead by example. People always say to me, I don't understand how you look back on having cancer, especially at 72, with joy and with thankfulness. Well, you know what? Bitterness and a sense of not feeling satisfied or not leading the life you should lead or never becoming the woman you should have been or you prayed you would. It's all under your control now. And it's never, ever too late. Don't stop dreaming. Don't stop achieving. Whatever it is that feeds that energy. And heart energy is so important. I think that most of us, but I'll just speak about myself, all my life, I truly believe I thought the safest way to live was to guard your heart. Never put your whole heart into anything because you'll just get your heart broken. But when I turned 60, I didn't like my body. I was middle aged. I gained a ton of weight. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like how I was performing. And I designed one garment, being the fashionista I am, the middle aged Jean, and it changed my life. Hey, so if you know me, you know I am a big believer that red light is the future of wellness and beauty. Mito Red Light is my new absolute favorite. It's like giving your cells a power boost. It's incredible. So red light therapy helps support energy, skin health, and even reduces inflammation, all with the simple power of light. Red light, that is. I use mine every day and I can feel the difference. If you want to glow from the inside out, check out Mito Red Light because your cells feel energized and you feel unstoppable. Use my code below on mitoredlight.com for a discount and see why red light therapy is lighting the way to better aging. Mito Red Light. Power your cells, power your life. That was the one garment in my entire career from designing from the time I was 18 until 60 that I truly put my heart into. And the results were monumental. So I can tell you for sure where I could have been the old me and turn around at this time in life and say, Diane, don't love life so much. Because when you leave it, you're going to be so heartbroken. No, when I leave it, I'm going to say to myself, I was so privileged. I was born with purpose and how to get there. And I have, I don't know how many years left, I hope 20 at least, where I can truly, completely become the woman I know I can be and lay down a legacy other women can follow as they age and love your life moment by moment. So, yep, it's a legacy birthday. Yep, it's a big decade birthday. And I hope you all celebrate it with me. And I hope that my words are words of wisdom that help lay down a pathway like the yellow brick road in Wizard of Oz and give you some guidelines for being the best you and living the best, most joyous, most appreciative life possible. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much for listening to Too Young to Be Old podcast. The episode may be over, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Diane Gilman, or visit our website, thedianegilman.com. If you like the show, leave us a rating or a review and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And until then, don't forget, age is just a number. Together, we'll prove that we are all too young to be old.